A disappointing end to what otherwise was a pretty successful road trip for your Chicago Cubs. That and more coming up on the Setup Man postgame show right now. Welcome into the Setup Man postgame show live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alex Brawl, alongside the Cubs podfather himself, Kyle Stanley, back with me today. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, comment, like this video. Even though the game there wasn't much to like today, you could still like our stuff. So make sure you hit that like button below. And also get ready to participate, because in our third segment, we will be taking your calls, just like old-fashioned sports radio. So Kyle will drop that link into the chat. So make sure you click that, and then you can come hang out in our backstage. Hang tight. We will get to you in the third segment. And then Kyle, any updates?
I don't. Yeah, well, just want to keep reminding people, right, that no show on Sunday because it is Easter, so you should enjoy your time with family. And I also wanted to add, again, we keep on talking about this. Alex, you are the king of these post game shows, so you're going to be the big dog moving forward on all of these. And I am going to be coming in once or twice a week, still doing the post games with you, but Ty will be doing a majority with you as well. And I will be doing a lot more of the breakdowns, the interviews. Just gives me more time to be able to bring you guys the most amount of content possible. And change is new for everyone. Obviously, a lot of people don't like change, but I assure you this is all for the best, because we're going to be giving you so much more content. You're going to notice an uptick. You're going to notice an uptick in value as well, which is at the end of the day, the most important thing for you guys. So yeah, excited to just 10X everything, Alex.
Absolutely. You know what wasn't exciting? The game today. Cubs dropped the series finale 4-2 in San Diego. Really, the only shining star for the Cubs today was Ian Happ. You can make a case for Matthew Boyd, although he battled a little bit. Kyle, what was your biggest takeaway from not only the series, but this game today specifically? Because while it was boring, I do think there was some things that came out of this that are important going forward.
Yeah, you and I were talking about it, even though the score was 4-2, which, by the way, now that I'm saying that out loud, was that last night or today that Joe from Obvious Shirt said that if the final score was 4-2, that he would give 42 people $42? I need to look that up.
I did not know that was a thing.
I remember seeing that just, squirrel moment. And yeah, that was, I think that was today. I'm almost positive that was today. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. I'm thinking about this, and I'm just like, man, on Sundays we seem to have disappointment, except for this last Sunday, and on Wednesdays we just seem to have boring games. Like, even though it was 2-1, 3-1, it felt like the Cubs were never really in this game. Even when they had a 1-0 lead, I was kind of like, oh man, that was a big missed opportunity. With the bases loaded, nobody out, Kyle Tucker up, followed by Seiya Suzuki. Kyle Tucker gets a sacrifice fly, but it doesn't move all the runners. It just moved the runner from third to home. And then Seiya rolls over, grounds into a double play. Yeah, but you got to give it to Nick Pivetta, man. Like, Nick Pivetta shoved today, and he's been really good at home so far as a Padre. As I've got the box score up now, he went 6 innings, 1 earned run. That's his first earned run at Petco as a Padre. He went 7 innings, no runs. Then he went to Wrigley, kind of got hit around a little bit, and went back to Petco, 7 innings, no runs, and now today 6 innings and 1 run. So give it to him more than anything. And there's a lot of positives too from this series that I really am excited about. The fact that they went 3-3 is really the biggest thing to me. That's all we wanted. We wanted a 3-3 road trip. And all I want now is to talk about what it's going to look like when we go back to Wrigley, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I want other people in the room. We got a small room right now, so make sure you invite other people to join. We all are also going to talk about rehab updates and minor league updates as well. There was a big day down in Iowa. But what about you, Alex? Like, what was the big key for you today?
So for me, I was really excited to see Daniel Palencia, and we could talk about this in a second, but Daniel Palencia in 2 outings, for the most part, looked pretty good. He did give up a run today that ended up being pretty crucial. But I have a question for you. And we
Hmm.
talked about this off air, but I want to bring it to air. The bullpen management. So Daniel Palencia comes in into a jam, gets out of it, and then they trot him back out for another inning. At what point do we question the bullpen management? Because at that point, for me, Palencia, you did your job. You got out of the jam. Let's go to the next guy.
Yeah.
But council seems to have a tendency to leave these guys in.
I especially wonder, just because tomorrow's an off day, why you wouldn't throw the kitchen sink at them. But this bullpen has been taxed this road trip, so you could give him that. Julian Merriweather, even though he's a guy that we continue to be like, don't baby him. He just seems like Council's kind of babying Julian Merriweather. It seems like he's babying a few guys out of that bullpen. You got a really good showing from Palencia, Merriweather, Hodge, Presley, and Thielbar last night, combined for 5 innings. I want to say only 1 walk and 1 hit, or it might have been no walks. And I don't know, maybe it was just kind of one of those things that as soon as it was 2-1, and it frustrates me, I'm not defending it, but Joe Madden was kind of good at this too. Like getaway days and Sundays, he would just throw out those lineups where it's just like, if we win, it's great, but we're not really looking to win. And I don't think that that's what really Craig Counsell thinks. He's not like, okay, we're not really trying to win, so here's the lineup today. But it's like when it's a tie game or it's a late game and you've got that opportunity to keep it close, why not throw the kitchen sink at it? I guess it didn't bother me as much today just because I knew that, again, like this bullpen was pretty taxed during this road trip. So that's the only reason I'm not really upset about it. And I actually really enjoyed watching Palencia get out of that jam, and I wanted to see him go back out there, and I want to see him be a dude this year. I want Luke Little to be a dude too, but 4 walks and 2/3 of an inning is not going to cut it. So to me, it could have also been just that opportunity for Craig, who is good at developing younger players, to just say, hey, now's your chance to prove that you belong in my, what did Sut call it? So it wasn't a circle of trust. He called it something else today in the bullpen.
Oh, I must have missed that. The trust tree, that also
Trust tree, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Palencia, I'm looking at his numbers. He threw 25 pitches, 18 of them were strikes. For him, that's really good.
Really good.
Luke Little, on the other hand, threw 34, only 15 were strikes. He walked 4, walked in a run. It wasn't. And granted, now the umpire today was garbage. It's not an excuse. He wasn't super close, but close enough where maybe get a call here or there. But overall, it's the same problems we have with anyone that we've had problems with in the pen. If you can't throw strikes, you should not be in this bullpen. Now, it's one outing. I'm not going to overreact, but I do need to see improvement. We've seen flashes from him, but I really need to see something pretty substantial going forward, because it looks, Thielbar maybe figured something out. Maybe closing that game down yesterday was something. But yeah, I was looking forward to Luke Little's debut for this season, and then woof.
Yeah, and I wouldn't get too crazy over analytical about Luke Little as I'm bringing up some of his numbers, just because this is kind of who he is. He'll come in and he will look like this is the closer of the future for the Cubs, throwing 98 with a dirty slider. And then the next game, he'll walk the world. Last year, he had in 30 games, he had 1, 2, 3 games with multiple walks. I'm surprised it's only that little amount, but he had, of those 30 games, 15 of them, he had at least 1 walk. So he's going to walk guys. Like he's going to put guys on base for free. The key thing is, though, last year, even though it felt like he didn't have a great season, he actually did have a really solid season. If you take out that 1 bad outing in Boston where he gave up 5 earned runs, outside of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outings, he gave up runs, and it was just 1 run. And so if you're Luke Little and you got that good of stuff, you've got to figure out a way. I think you got to figure out a way of just like, okay, when I do get into trouble, there's got to be a different approach. There's got to be like a pitch that I have that I just go to where I know, hey, if I just throw it in this pitch in this location, they're not going to hit it. And I would feel like it would be the fastball. And because it's so fast, I think about Shota Imanaga when he gets in trouble the other night when he was pitching against, I think it was Machado. he struck him out on like 3 fastballs right down the middle of the plate. And he just knows that if I throw this fastball more often than not, it's not going to get hit, even though it's 92. Luke Little's got a fastball like that. It's just like you don't have to hit the corners. Just go after the guys and just make them hit it. Because, again, Little last year, if we now look at this, he gave up 1 home run in 30 outings last year. 1 home run. Like, they're just not going to hit home runs against them. So I think that's the biggest thing. Porter Hodge said it really well. Sorry, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but like, I think this is a big thing here because Porter Hodge said it. He was like, when I came up to the Cubs last year, I talked to the pitching coaches and they were like, dude, just throw the fastball in the zone. They're not going to hit it. And he was like, that's all the confidence I needed for a pitching coach on the Cubs to be like, don't try to nibble, just throw it down the middle. They're not going to hit it.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing I took away from watching San Diego's bullpen this series, outside of a few instances, they throw strikes. And you had mentioned it, what was that, Sunday, last week, Wednesday? When pitchers throw strikes, offenses struggle more, which is kind of a bizarre thing to say because you think it'd be the opposite. But even today, Nick Pivetta didn't really have much trouble at all. He was throwing strikes. And even though some of them were borderline, some of them maybe weren't strikes all that much, Nick Pivetta threw strikes. He walked 1 batter.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I thought Matthew Boyd did a decent job. He did, as the box score says, walk 2. But overall, I thought he battled a little bit. I also thought Shota had to battle a little bit. It's just, and I think part of the equation, San Diego's offense is just really flipping good. And they don't even have Jackson Merrill at the moment. They're
or Jake
missing
Cronenworth. Yeah.
That was the other guy I was thinking of. Yeah, they don't even have Cronenworth either.
Yeah.
So overall, road trip, I thought was a success. Was there any – I want to ask you this before we move on to Diamond Notes and minor league stuff. So overall, this whole road trip, 6 games, what do you think this road trip signifies for this Cubs team going forward?
Yeah, they can play with the big dogs, man. I mean, that's all we wanted to see was a 3-3 road trip because of the fact that that you're going into LA, who had won all 7 of their home games, going into San Diego, who once we finally got there had won all 10 of their home games. And these are 2 of the best teams in baseball from a record standpoint. To win a series and lose a series and not get swept, I think was like, wow, like this was good. The only game that you ever felt like really got away was game 1 of this series when the Cubs were actually up 3-1 at one point.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another big thing. A lot of people might be like, oh, we could have gone 4-2. Well, these are going to be 3 playoff teams. Like these 3 teams will be in the playoffs come October. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you still don't know that about the Cubs. I'm pretty confident at this point that this is a playoff team based on all the things that we've been seeing. Plus they still have weaknesses that they're addressing and they're doing it with urgency, as we saw yesterday with all the moves that Jed made. To go 3-3 against a playoff team, 2 playoff teams at their home ballparks in a completely different time zone during the time of the year that is like best for them to be playing there because they're playing well and it's great weather and everything. All of that makes it extremely difficult to win even 2 games, let alone 3. And it's really encouraging. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone knows that the Dodgers are probably the best team in baseball. San Diego in a lot of power rankings this week at this moment in time, San Diego is the number 1 team in baseball, according to a lot of folks at this moment in time. So you beat them at your place. They beat you at theirs. To me, okay, fine. It is what it is. You split 3-3. That's good enough for me. I think if you would have told me on last Thursday on the off day, hey, 3-3 road trip, I would have just assumed the Dodgers would have been the ones that we would have lost the series to. So I am totally fine with it. But we got some Diamond Notes. So you see, we don't have our one big moment because today there weren't any. But we do got some news and notes. So let's get into some of those. So we have some injury updates. I'll flash the graphic up here. So Javier Assad, according to Craig Counsell, feels good. Got a little fatigued in his last start, but overall feels healthy. Everything's good. All the reports are good. He's just got to pitch more to build up that stamina. Yesterday, he pitched 1 3 1/3, gave up 1 earned run, struck out 4, and walked 1. Overall, all encouraging signs on Javier Assad. Tyson Miller pitched last night, an inning, 2 Ks, no walks. Key stat there, no walks. And the plan is he's going to pitch again on Friday. So keep an eye out for that as Tyson Miller tries to make his way back to the club. And finally, Ryan Brazier, who they acquired in a trade with the Dodgers this offseason, according to Craig Counsell, is a ways away. He's playing catch, and I quote, but there's a long way to go. So he's symptom-free. He's coming back from a groin injury, symptom-free, playing catch, but he's quite a ways off, according to Craig Counsell. So Javier Assad, probably the biggest name at this point. So how important is it for Javier Assad to come back healthy? And because now the rotation looks, for the most part, pretty full. Maybe Colin Ray would be the only spot available. But thoughts on Javier Assad and his trek back?
Yeah, I think it's important, but I also think it's interesting how they might use that in terms of Ray and Assad. Again, like you can't replace Justin Steele. You can't do it right now unless randomly the Twins say yes, Pablo Lopez, or the Marlins say yes, Sandy Alcantara is available. You're just not going to replace Justin Steele. So there's still a lot of off days on Thursdays in May once again. So I do think that Craig Counsell will try to maybe do like hey, Colin Ray is going out there. He's our starter, but if he gets in trouble, Javier Assad's there to piggyback. And maybe when it starts getting a little bit busier in the schedule in June, now you start seeing maybe even a 6-man rotation and see Javier Assad and Colin Ray go out there on some weeks. I think it's important, though. I think it's really important that he pitches because Cubs don't have a blowaway guy in their starting rotation. So there's going to be weeks where Shota doesn't pitch the way that he thought he was going to. Tyone gets hit around. Boyd only gets through 4 innings. And so Assad's going to need to be a guy who eats up innings. And he didn't do that a lot last year. He got a lot of starts, but he didn't really go deep into games. And so for that reason, I think you still see Ray as the starter, but you see Assad as kind of that swingman backup starter. But I got a question for you is, let's say both these guys come back in 10 days. Who are the odd men out? There's still a lot to be done with this bullpen and everything, but who are the 2 odd men out that need to have a transaction made against them to make room for these guys?
So that was actually going to be one of my questions for you because I think that's a
Beat
tough
you
question.
to it.
Yeah, by like 2 seconds. But ultimately, I think that's going to be really difficult to decide. I don't know. Maybe Tyson Miller spends a little extra time in AAA. He didn't have a great spring. You just brought up Luke Little. You just brought up Palencia. Thielbar is really the only name I could think of off the chopping block because he's been, quote unquote, the worst. But then he looked good in his last outing. So you kind of have your back 3 set: Merriweather, Hodge, Presley, Keller's a lock. Palencia seems early on to be working his way into the quote unquote trust tree. Luke Little looked trash. It wasn't good today.
Not today, yeah.
Ethan Roberts has been fine. So, yeah, I guess I don't have a great answer because, in my opinion, it's Thielbar and probably Little, but it seems early to say, like, oh, Luke Little, you have one, not even a full inning, 2/3, walked 4. So I don't know. Could answer your own question, I guess.
I think it'll be a mix of any of the 3 guys that have options. I don't think that they'll give up on Thielbar, especially if he keeps on doing this whole, like, has one bad outing and then goes out there and does his job for the other 3 or 4. I don't think that that's enough to put the panic sign on quite yet. So I think that the Cubs will, and I'm not saying this is what they should do. I'm thinking this is what they will do, knowing how they operate with options. Ethan Roberts, let's say he goes out there and throws 2 innings on a getaway day, and now Tyson Miller is ready. They probably option Ethan Roberts because they're like, okay, well, he's not going to be ready for a couple days anyway because he just threw 2 or 3 innings in 1 outing. Luke Little, if he keeps walking guys, that's an easy decision. Send him back down.
Yep.
If Palencia, same thing for him as Ethan Roberts. If he throws a few more innings, if he's been overused, if he's not hitting his spots, if he's walking guys, if he's getting hit around, then I could see that.
For sure. We are pushing up against the clock. So I want to make sure we get to our minor league updates here. So I'm going to flash this update. So if you haven't heard, the iCubs today won 20-6 They literally put up a football score. Moises Ballesteros, at this point, probably their best hitting prospect
Yep.
at the moment, went 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, a homer, 2 home runs. Kevin Alcantara, 4 for 6. I mean, some of these numbers are video game numbers. 4 for 6, 5 RBIs.
There
And
were
then,
some position players pitching against them. I will say that.
we don't have to talk about that. It ruins my argument. But yeah, and you can see the numbers on here. Owen Casey coming off an ankle injury and essentially no spring training. 257, a 350 on base, and then 543 slug, 2 homers. Alcantara, 277. Triantos, I was a little surprised to see those numbers down that far, so he's off to a bit of a slow start. But the biggest name that I wanted to talk about today, one Mr. Cade Horton, Cubs' top pitching prospect. Let me find the highlights. There it is. If you're watching on YouTube, we got some highlights going for you. But Cade Horton today went 5 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, which was a home run, 3 walks, and 6 Ks on the season. He's pitched in 3 games, started all of them, has a 1-1 record with a 1.46 ERA in 12 and a third innings pitched, with 18 Ks and 10 walks. Overall, pretty solid from the Cubs' top pitching prospect. Kyle, at what point do you push the envelope? He's creating buzz.
Yeah, I want to talk about him. I also want to talk about Moises Ballesteros, who hit this bomb. These are 2 guys that, and I was watching this game today too, by the way, just so you know, from a eye test, Moises Ballesteros is MLB ready. The guy that he hit that home run off of and had his first 3 hits off of was throwing 97, 98. Woo! So he's ready. Like this guy, and it's effortless, man. It's so effortless. He had a line drive on a first pitch in the first at bat. Then he flicked his wrists out and hit a 1-hopper to left center for a double. And then he just lays into that one for a home run. He's ready, man. I was half, I say half, like probably 49-51. I was half hoping that Carson Kelly just like might need to retroact a IL stint and be gone for like another 5 days and just get Moises Ballesteros up and get him 1 start and get him a few at bats off the bench and then Carson Kelly come back. But I think that's what's going to have to happen. The DH, Seiya Suzuki, is either going to have to go down for an IL stint or one of the catchers is going to. Maybe Justin Turner if he goes down for an IL stint. To me, that's what's going to have to happen in order to see him soon. Cade Horton, I will tell you this. He was 97-ish in the beginning, kind of dropped up a little bit towards the end there, 94, 95. You can see he was like laboring through the last couple. He hung 1 pitch. He really, like, from what I saw, I only saw him make 1 actual mistake. Everything else was sharp. And you can see 18 strikeouts and 12 and a third and 10 walks. If I'm looking at that, that's the only thing that I want to see improve is the walks. You know, that needs to be at least for a big strikeout pitcher like that. I'd like to see a 2.5 to 1 ratio of Ks to walks. And that's the only thing, man. I mean, outside of that, he works around the walks really well. He doesn't allow hard contact. The home run was just a hanging slider. And I think it was pretty much the only one that he hung. He looked really good. I think he's just about ready. And the question becomes, how many more innings do you want to waste with him down in the minors because of injuries in the past? Who knows? Maybe he's only got 70 good innings in him this year, and he's already thrown 12 of those in the minors. So get him up here and just try him out in the bullpen, low leverage, and maybe just work him up a little bit. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, and we've seen the Brewers under Craig Counsell do that same thing with Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff. This is really their only impact pitcher prospect that they have in the system at the moment that's even close. So, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to see it. I want to see what it looks like. The walks scare me a little bit because, as I've been preaching for the last 2 weeks, please, dear God, stop walking people. It is going to be the death of all of us, as David Kaplan said on Twitter today, or X. So I want to see the walks come down. But yeah, I'm ready. And I think when he does come up eventually, heaven forbid there's an injury where he would have to start, I do think it's going to be out of the bullpen. Although 5 innings today, he's building up his innings. The last outing, and I don't have it off the top of my head, I want to say he went 3 or 4 innings.
I think it was 4, and then his first one was 3 1/3.
Yes, then that sounds right. So it's been a steady increase. So I don't know. Maybe, just maybe. But we are up against the clock, so we need to get to our setup sins and a quick message from our friends at Avia Shirts.
Setup Nation, I want to take a quick break so that you know how you can support our channel and wear some cool swag like this. We've teamed up with Avia Shirts to give you a chance to have your very own Setup Man shirt or hat. Pick from 3 different types of shirts or my personal favorite, the trucker hat. Go to the link in the description of this video and podcast to claim your Setup Man apparel. And thank you so much for supporting our channel.
You know, this is one of those days where the game was pretty boring and there's so much other stuff to talk about. I could honestly do this for like another half hour, but we're just running out of time. So let's
You
go.
want me to blow through the blessings?
Sure. Well, I'll throw it up on the screen for you. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. We were kind of like, okay, there wasn't at least that big of sins. So let's just talk about the series and the road trip itself and how it was a blessing. So 3-3 road trip, winning in many ways, whether it was the bullpen locking it down last night. Defense in LA was good. The hitting in LA was good. And then, you know, here in San Diego, you had a couple blips, but man, just the ways that they won against really good teams was really impressive. And then PCA is hitting. I mean, that's got to be huge. He hit 3 home runs this road trip.
Yeah.
And didn't have a single home run coming into the road trip. And I think was batting under 200 at one point going into that LA series. And now he's up above 250, or at least was going into today. Love it. Really good signs.
For sure. The only one I'm a little worried about at the moment at the plate is Dansby Swanson. He was hitting into some bad luck. He was making a lot of hard contact, but today,
now he's not.
Yeah, now he's not making the hard contact with bad luck. I would at least rather have that. But yeah, he's now batting $169 in the year. So I have my eye on that. He did make a couple important plays today defensively. One of which we didn't even talk about, but his dive early in the game, he dove, kept the ball in the infield to keep them from scoring. Ultimately didn't matter, but again, he's still making an impact, but a little nervous about the bat. So finally, it is time to open the phone lines in our news segment. If I can find the intro, Thoughts in 30.
You suck! Woohoo! On your marks, get set, go!
Alrighty, time for Thoughts in 30. Kyle, if you could do me a favor and hit or post the link in the chat for all of the beautiful people of Setup Nation to come on in. We do have one caller in the background, but, you know, we could do some more. So hop on in if you got any strong opinions. And let's go open the lines, and let's open friend of the show, Jacob. Welcome back to the program.
Howdy.
What's happening today, sir?
Jacob.
Had a field trip. Went to meet my senator who just got in. So
All
There
right.
you go. Nice.
All right. So Cubs thoughts in 30 seconds. You know the drill. So your time starts right now.
first of all, I want to say, Kyle, you responding to my Instagram message actually was a great. That was a great way to start the day. So
Nice.
but I want to say, you guys kind of touched on it earlier, and I'm not pissed off at Little's appearance with the walks and everything, because it's his first appearance and that's what he does. But what I am pissed off is Counsell not pulling the plug earlier, because it was 4 walks. It was, I think you said 36 pitches, 15 of them were only strikes. It's at that point, I would have just, if you're going to bring in a guy who walks a ton, have somebody else ready, because this was a very winnable game.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, offense didn't hit after that really, so it didn't really matter in the long run. But you don't know that during the game, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it goes back to what we talked about, right, Alex? It's just like, to me, it's probably just Craig Counsell being like, all right, looks like a day where the guys just don't quite have it at the plate. And I'd like to see what our new young guys can do from the bullpen. I think that's the only thing outside of just saving the guys that had pitched a lot during this road trip, which I don't think is as strong of an argument because of the fact that tomorrow's an off day.
Yeah.
So,
and like, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the only thing I have with that is I would believe it if, you know, we haven't seen this story before. We saw it last year. We saw it at parts of this year. Him just not acting with sense of urgency in terms of what's happening actually within the game. You talked about it, I think yesterday, with like the eye test. Like, you could tell when someone doesn't have it. That's my main issue with it.
Yeah, and I made that argument earlier too. Like sometimes, like Palencia gets out of a jam today. Okay, he should be done. Thielbar, I can't remember what game it was. He got out of a jam. Okay, he's done. But you send him back out there, and then things go sideways, and all of a sudden, oh, instead of what could be a 2-2 game after PCA's homer, well, now it's 3-2, and you're a run closer, but it could have been a tie game. So
Yeah.
a lot of those issues. Same here, Jacob. So thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. We will talk to you next time, which will probably be Monday. So we'll talk to you then, sir.
I'll have my stats ready.
All right.
A different player.
All righty. So thank you to Jacob for calling in. Anyone else, make sure, hop in, like, subscribe, comment on this video. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of a weird game today. Like I said, there was a lot of things outside of this game that were like, oh, these are positives. But other than that, man, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to get back to Wrigley. I think this is going to be another good test as I've got the schedule up. You got Diamondbacks for 3, then you got Dodgers for 2, and then you got Phillies for 3. And finally it lights up with the Pirates coming in at the end. But with the Cubs luck, they're probably seeing Keller and Skeens in there by the end. So I think for me, this is going to be a really big road trip or a really big homestand. What do we have? 8 games. And I would love to see, I'd love to see a 5-3 homestand against these really good teams. 5-3 at 8 games. You get greedy, go 6-2, but starts off tough. You got Corbin Burns on Friday. Cubs still TBD on that one. So we'll see who they throw.
Yeah, and I just looked at the whole series, and the rest of them are TBD, but we do know for sure Corbin Burns on Friday. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, and honestly, I can't wait. These games that matter in April, and they're all important ones. So, we're going to wrap up the show there. We are at time. So, thank you for commenting. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and a little bell, so anytime you want to get alerted to what we're up to, you will get that notification. But for Kyle, I am Alex. Thank you for tuning in today. We will see you on Monday. Remember, no Sunday show. So we will see you on Monday. It will be Ty and myself talking about the – actually, no. Monday, they are off. So we'll see you Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. My bad. Tuesday, they play the Dodgers. Ty and I will cover that. So thanks again for watching. We will see you on Tuesday. But Kyle and I are going to go put our arms on ice.